As most of you know, I love to try to help out people that are doing home production. So I love to concentrate on people like myself who are artists, songwriters, who are trying to write music at home and help them bypass a lot of the BS that's out there as far as methods and gear that is being pushed on them, or lessons that is irrelevant or misleading. So I'm trying to help people like I would have wanted to be helped when I first got started. So I want to talk today about gear for a second. I've been thinking a lot about the types of gear that I would recommend to other people because I get asked that all the time. So I've broken it down into, I made a spreadsheet. I worked several months on this about stuff that I would recommend. And this spreadsheet is super boring to look at, but I broke it down into 3 different setups. Setup 1 would be somebody that's just starting out and all they can afford is a couple tools using their smartphone or iPad or tablet or something like that. Setup 2 is they have a laptop, maybe not a great laptop, but they have a laptop and they need some recommendations about getting set up. And then setup 3 is you've got some money and you really want to put into this to become a home producer. So I've made some PDFs that I will put in the show notes that can kind of guide you in this. And I want to walk through this. So this video is going to be about number 1, the first setup. It's going to be kind of short here. So number 1, again, this is for the songwriter musician that's on a tight budget. If you can afford to go to number 2, I highly recommend jumping to number 2. But if you can't, if this is all you have is a smartphone, let me show you a couple things I would recommend. So if you have a smartphone, tablet, I'm not going to assume what you have. You probably have an Android for all I know. I have no idea. I'm an iOS user, iPhone user, but not because I absolutely am in love with Apple, but just because that's worked for me and that's what I got familiar with. But if you're an Android, go for it, Samsung, whatever. The DAW I would recommend, there are a bunch of different DAWs. Now, what is a DAW? It's a digital audio workstation, and the acronym is DAW. And the whole point of a DAW is to record your music. It's a multi-track recorder, meaning that you can record drums, vocals, and all your recordings, when you hit play, they play at the same time. So you can have one track that's just a recorded bass line and another track that's a drum track and another track. Most of you know this already, but for those who are new at this, it's a way of recording a bunch of tracks at once so that when you put it all together, you've got a song. So there are some DAWs for mobile recording and they're getting a lot better. The one I usually would recommend is GarageBand. To me, you get a lot of features for the price. It's only $4.99, but I think it might only be on Apple. I'm not sure about that. I'll let you know. If you can't afford that, there's another great one called Nano Studio, and then there's one called Cubasis. It's a little more, it's $50. But these programs have a lot of different features. They've got some effects in it, some very basic effects. They've got virtual instruments, so guitars and drums and pianos and stuff. But it'll kind of get you started. And the thing is, if you're going to use a platform like this, if you're going to use a platform that's a mobile device, you're going to need a good pair of headphones. So jumping down here, the headphones I would recommend for this price range, they're $100. You might be able to get them a little cheaper, but Sony makes some of the best headphones. I hate to promote Sony because I'm not crazy about the company itself, but their headphones are always rock solid. Even their earbuds are amazing. Even their cheap earbuds are pretty amazing. These are called the MDR 7506. They've got a pretty flat response. Anytime you need a good pair of headphones, even if you're at a higher price point, these are a great pair of headphones. When you shop for headphones, here's the thing. You want to find flat response headphones. So you want the EQ. You don't want any kind of enhancements in the sound. A lot of headphones market themselves as like, ooh, extra bass or enhanced mid-levels or lots of presence or something like that. You don't want any of that. What you want is accuracy. And it's hard to find real good, accurate headphones for a decent price. I recommend these. They're not the best studio headphones, but they are a great headphone for this price range. They've got a pretty flat response for what you're getting. Now, again, if you're doing an Apple device, if you have a newer Apple device, you're going to need probably that little adapter that goes from their Lightning port to a eighth inch audio jack. Just FYI, you probably already know that. It's just something Apple decided to do, is change up their port, their headphone port, which is infuriating. Anyway, remember to have that. Let's talk about another thing, your MIDI controller. So you need something so that you can put your music into. I recommend this. It's the Korg. It's the one shown in this illustration right here. I love this thing. The reason I love it, and again, I have no affiliate or sponsorships here. I just am telling you from my experience. The reason I love it is it's 25 keys, so it's totally portable, which is what you're going to need if you're working at coffee shops, on the road, on the train, in the plane, whatever. You need something small, but the feel of the keys is really nice. I used to have an X key. I don't recommend those. After about 2 years, the keys start to stick. Don't get an X key. Get one of these Korgs. They're great. But this one has a little bar here, whatever you call this. This adjusts the modulation and pitch. Okay. Most 25 key keyboards do not have that. It doesn't have a sustain jack. So if you have a sustain pedal, this wouldn't work for you. There are some 25 key keyboards that do have that, but at this level, you're usually not going to do much with a sustain pedal anyway. This uses a regular jack, regular USB. So like the kind of USB cable you'd use for your printer. And then there's a sustain button. You can hold that with one hand while you're playing with the other. If you want to use any kind of sustain on that, you can jump up octave up and down. And there is an arpeggiator. It's a gimmick. I hate these things. I mean, I've never made them work for me, but if you like them, I guess go for it. The greatest thing about this is that it's Bluetooth. It doesn't have to be, but you have a switch right here. You can switch to Bluetooth and you can connect it to your computer. And then when you're playing, you don't have to plug this thing in. I cannot recommend this enough. They're about $99. I've seen them, I think, for $89 sometimes. There's a 37 key, which is a little bigger. And then there's, I think, like a 61 key as well. But this is the one I'd recommend because at this price point, you're going to be probably traveling and moving around and you want something small. The keys are small. They're not life-size keys like a piano, but you're not going to need that anyway at this price point. Okay. Moving on, the last item I want to show is a microphone. You need a good microphone. I don't care what price point you're at. What you pay for your microphone is going to come back in spades. So if you go cheap on a microphone, you're going to regret it. If you pay a little bit of money and get a good mic, you will be very happy with that. And you usually can sell. Most equipment holds its value. So you can sell equipment for about the price that you bought it for. It's amazing. In fact, I've bought some equipment that 10 years later, I'm able to sell it for even more than I bought it for because it holds its value so well. I'm not sure if this one would, but this is the one I would recommend. It's called an Apogee Mic 96K. It records up to 96 kilohertz or kilobits per second, whatever it is, which is more than you need as far as quality. I usually record at 48K. Apogee makes incredible audio to digital conversion. So this microphone actually has an A to D conversion in it, which is sensational and Apogee makes some of the best A to D conversion. In other words, it's a sound card within the microphone. So you're running a digital cable from the mic to your computer without having to run an audio mic or audio cable. So everything's digital. So all the A to D conversion happens in the mic. You don't need to know all about that. I'm getting too technical. But all I'm saying is this is a great mic. It's very portable. It's very easy to use. And it is fantastic. And it connects directly to an iPad or iPhone. I think it comes with the connectors for that. You definitely get what you pay for. So this one's a little pricey. That's $229, I think. That's where I found it at. You might find it cheaper somewhere, but I highly recommend this. I recorded, a friend of mine had cancer and I knew she didn't have a lot of time to live. So I flew to DC and actually recorded her saying one of her poems. She was really an amazing lyricist and recorded a poem. I recorded her in her bedroom just with this mic, no soundproofing or anything, and then took those recordings back home and put put music around it, and it sounds amazing. It sounds, you wouldn't even hardly be able to tell that I did it in her bedroom. So I will post that in the show notes and let you hear it, and so you can test that. But I just definitely want to recommend that mic. All right, that's it, guys. If you guys have any other recommendations for gear that you want to suggest, please put them in the comments below. And if you'd like to download these PDFs, I will put that in the link below as well. It's absolutely free. Just go to my site, put your email in, and you can have these downloads. All right, guys, later.